Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I saw it come up in my feed this morning, and I actually had planned to do a video on it even before people started tagging me in the question. And I saw it on Ian McCarthy's No Bullshit Bodybuilding page. He asked the question, and I'll just read it out to you guys. It says, deadlifts are often considered one of the best overall mass building exercises. Is this view justified? Why or why not? I know a lot of people there are going to say no it isn't, and they're going to try to cite a lot of reasons. I'm going to argue that it is, and I think it is particularly for people with time economy issues, meaning people who don't have hours and hours and hours to spend lifting every week, or who don't want to spend hours and hours and hours lifting every week. Now the reason for that is simply because it works such a large number of muscle groups. Even if whether you're doing high reps, low reps, whatever you're doing relative to the distance the bar is moving and relative to your overall strength on every other lift, you're probably going to lift more weight over distance than you will on any other exercise. This is partially due to a lot of leverage advantages, but that work has to come from somewhere. And this lift recruits more muscles throughout the body than pretty much any other lift out there. And it works very directly, pretty much everything between your knee up the backside all the way to your neck. So everything between the hamstring to the traps get worked. Now, is it necessarily a best primary mover and primary builder for all those muscle groups? No, absolutely not. However, your workload is cumulative when you do things. When someone makes a statement like, well, doing a skull crusher hits the triceps more effectively than, say, a bench press does. But if someone is doing 5 or 8 sets of heavy bench press every week, can you really deny that the bench press has contributed to their tricep development? Would their triceps be the same size as if they had only done their 5 sets of skull crushers per week without all those bench press? And it's pretty evident from anyone you observe that people who do only tricep work with no pressing, particularly if they don't do large volumes of it, don't always have triceps as big as people who do lots of pressing also. It's oftentimes a combination of the things. Doing big, heavy compounds that hit a wide variety of muscle groups contribute to the development, and then if you need additional development, you can finish them off with more direct work. The deadlift can initiate a lot of your stimulus in all of those muscles, and people want to argue it doesn't work the lats and things, but it does, and we know that it works the lats. We've seen evidence with novice lifters that their lats get bigger from deadlifts. Now, a very advanced lifter who does only deadlifts might not see any additional lat hypertrophy because he's not giving them enough workload per week with exclusively deadlifts if he's not doing any direct work. However, if he is doing direct work, the deadlifts are contributing to their cumulative workload, their cumulative metabolic fatigue, the cumulative stress upon those muscle groups. So it's good to add to their overall stress, and they will add size on you. And I know people love to use the example of Max Chewing. Well, Max Chewing, if you look at his entire posterior side, he has very, very good development. His erectors are big, his hamstrings are big. All those muscles that get hit pretty hard with the deadlifts are pretty big on him, and he's got a decent deadlift for his size. And he uses a decent workload, so all those muscles are bigger. So that being said, that clearly shows that all of those muscles get work. It's just that the muscles that the deadlift is going to cause significant hypertrophy in are not really visible from the front. So if deadlift is the lift you do the most to get most of your growth, it isn't going to do anything from the front. You're not going to look any bigger at all. But when you turn around and you see their backside, you will. And now, as far as the additional work, it just contributes to the overall workload of those muscles. A lot of people, depending upon your individual genetics, are going to need extra work to balance the physique out. The deadlift may not make every one of those muscles as big as you possibly want it to be for your personal goals. So you will probably need additional work for some, maybe half, maybe all of those muscles. But it doesn't mean it doesn't contribute. And use me as an example. Everyone always comments that my hamstrings look freaking massive when I'm in shorts. Massive. And they go, what do you do for your hamstrings? I deadlift. I deadlift. That's all I do for them. Unless you want to count squats as a hamstring exercise too, but that's my entire lower body routine. In fact, my calves hypertrophy from deadlifts. I get DOMs in my calves after deadlifting, and my DOMs have gotten bigger since I've come back to training, even though I weigh less. They measure bigger. They measure over an inch bigger. So that does come down to individual genetics, because by that same token, I do just those one compounds, and all those muscles grow, and they grow disproportionately massive on me. Yet you take my arms. My hamstring development is far superior to my arm development. by anybody's standards. Yet for my arms, I do multiple compounds and multiple exercises every single week, and I have been since I've returned to training without fail. I don't go a week without doing curls or tricep extensions. I don't go a week without doing heavy pressing and some sort of heavy pulling, whether it's rowing, weighted chin-ups, whatever. So I routinely do things like weighted chin-ups and 2 different types of curls every week. At least 2 different types of heavy presses and tricep extensions every week. Yet my arm development cannot match my hamstring development that comes exclusively from deadlifting. So as I was pointing out earlier, it's going to come down to your individual genetics. Some people do not need any direct work. Most people have at least 1 or 2 or more muscles in their body that do not need direct work, that they will grow off of big heavy compounds like that. And my example would be my hamstrings. And so the lifts like the deadlifts will go ahead and hit all of these wide variety of muscle groups. So go ahead and find all those muscles that are going to grow for you personally without any direct work. They'll go ahead and grow and be nice and balanced, and then it lets you spend more of your time focusing then on direct work for muscles that you really need the work in. Those big heavy compounds like that will pick out and find all of those muscles for you that just genetically grow with minimal work. So it will actually save you a lot of time, even for people who are looking to build a balanced physique. Alright guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Oh.